Okay, so by now we should have all of our components. We should have a back piece, a front piece, two side pieces, and a stick. I've got a bonus piece because I've showed you how to make all three shapes, but you should have 5 files. What we're going to do next is we're going to assemble it all together into one document. So we're going to go File, New, and we're going to start to import all of those components. We're just going to start, first of all, with the back piece. So we'll File, Import, we'll place that at the origin, and then we're going to zoom in on it so we know how to find it. Okay, next we're going to import the stick. And for now, we're just going to place it here. Now you can see here's our first challenge. It's facing upwards and we need it to be facing forwards. So it's facing the wrong way. Now the two main tools as we assemble all of our model are going to be the Move tool and the Rotate tool. So we're going to use the Rotate tool to rotate this thing. Now what we want to be doing, can you see how the protractor that we use to rotate things, it turns different colours depending on what surface we hold it onto. So the front surface it goes green, side surface it goes red, if we go to the floor it turns blue, and then if it's just hovering around in space in a random angle it's black if it's not constrained to any one of those surfaces. We want to rotate this thing on the red surface. So we're going to need to hover around on the side of the stick until that protractor turns red. Now you can see, because it's a curved surface, it actually doesn't snap to the red. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to the side of our back piece and we're going to hold down the Shift button on your keyboard. That locks it so that wherever I go, the protractor is locked to red. Then I'm going to grab it on the side, click once, and you can give me a dotted line. I'm going to make sure that's green. I'm going to click again, and then this thing should rotate. I'm going to move to 90 degrees, and then I'm going to click again, and it's released, and now my pin is facing forward. The next thing for us to do is to use the Move tool. So if I pick this thing up at any point, I can start to move it around and it will snap to certain positions depending on what I hover on. If I snap here, it will snap to the end of the circle. Okay, but that's not very, although it lines up perfectly with the circle, you can see here that it doesn't, it's lined up to the front of the circle. So we want to line it up to the back. Now the easiest way to do this is to change our view and our face style to X-ray. That gives us X-ray vision, and we can now start to see all the way through this object. So if I just move this forward for a second, I can now grab that same thing on that same point on the edge of the circle, and now I can bring it all the way through and lock it onto the back of that circle. If I look around, you should be able to see that lines up perfectly, exactly how I want it to be. Now that's our first two components lined up, and now what we need is to put in another stick. Now I could go File, Import, but there is a copier way, an easier way, and that is to go Edit, Copy, Edit, and we could put Paste in Place, and it will drop it in the same spot. It looks like nothing's happened, but the second one has actually just been put down in the same spot, which means that I can pick it up from the same spot. You see that duplicate, and I'm just going to move it along to that next position. There we go. So now we've got our two sticks perfectly placed exactly where we want them to go. So we're going to continue importing them. We're going to File, Import. The next one we're going to do is going to be our front piece. Again, we can put it down pretty much wherever we want to start with, and then we'll move it into the right place. So this time I'm going to pick it up from that part of the circle, and I'm going to line that up with the part of this circle. Let's zoom in a little bit. There it is. So you can tell when it lines up perfectly. Just going to put it down, and there we go. 3 components in, all lined up exactly as they should do. Okay, 2 more to go then. So here's what let's bring in now, let's go File, Import, and let's bring in one of our side pieces. Okay, now you can see again that we're in a position where it's facing the wrong way. So what we're going to do is we are going to use the rotate tool. Okay, we can rotate this on the green surface if you want. So click on the bottom corner, make sure you've got a blue line coming up, and then that should, oh no, I've done that the wrong way around. So let's go Edit, Undo. Okay, and let's try this one on the blue surface then. Click, click, rotate, make sure it's locked at 90 degrees. There we go. So now we can move it from here over to here. Okay, let's have a look at it from the other point of view. Now, this is going to be kind of tricky to line this up just how we want it to be. So here's what we're going to do. Why don't we go Camera, Standard Views, and let's have a look at it from the left-hand side. There we go. Now we can line this up a little bit better. So let's grab it from one point, and let's just move it along. Make sure it's on the green axis, and move it along to where we want it to be. Perfect. Okay, now before we do anything else, I think it'd be a good idea for us to rotate this back piece. I'm sure some of you have realized that these are at the wrong angle. So I'm going to select all of those components. I'm going to hold down Shift so they're all selected. So all 4, the 2 sticks, the front piece and the back piece, all selected. I'm going to go to Edit and make it into a group. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use the Rotate tool to rotate it. So I'm going to do it on this surface, and I'm just going to lean it back. And what angle should we go? We'll see what looks about right. Probably to about there, isn't it? And then we can move that. Let's go again. Camera, Standard Views. Let's look at it from the right-hand side. Now this looks a bit weird because it's in perspective mode. If we change this into parallel projection, there we go. So now we can pick this up and we can move it around to where we think it ought to go. Probably around about now. Okay. Oh, can you see what happened? It jumped. As well as moving it side to side, it also moved it that way. So let's use our move tool again. Just grab that point. I'm going to slide it along the red line until it's just touching that edge. We want to make sure that there's a red dotted line and it's on the edge of that component. There we go. So all that's left for us to do is to bring in our final piece. So let's go File, Import. Let's bring in the triangle piece. For now we can put it anywhere we want. We're going to need to rotate it again. So for us, how did we rotate it before? I think it was on the red surface. So I'm going to take a reference from there, hold down Shift, click, click. Oh no, it wasn't red, that's the wrong one. So let's try, should we try green? Oh, that's not right either. Okay, so that leaves us with blue. There we go, that seems more right, doesn't it? Okay, 90 degrees, make sure it snaps, and then we can go to Camera, Standard Views, and we're going to look at it from the right. Okay, and then we're going to move it along here until it's around about where we want it to go. That seems like it'd be about right. There's also a good chance to go back and have a look at our back piece. Are we still happy with the angle? To me that all seems fine, but we might choose to take this one and rotate it a little bit more. For me, I think it looks okay. Let's just go back to view, face style, and we'll take off the X-ray vision. That way we can see this exactly how we want it to be.